Hi! I am so glad you're here. We are celebrating Pride Month by building a rainbow of projects by continuing our series, Roll for Rainbow. Roll for Rainbow! At the start of the challenge, I put 8 different color polymer clay beads into this little candy dispenser machine that represent the colors on the 8-color pride flag. So we dispense a color at random to see what color the project is going to be, and then we roll a d8 to see what kind of project we're going to do based on this little table here. So far, we've done yellow, pink, green, and turquoise, I think. And I'm too excited to see what we're gonna do next, so let's get rolling. Our color for this video is red, and it looks like our project is carving. These are little wooden shelves to hang up on the wall, and they're adorable. So I'm thinking we could maybe a little red floral pattern around, maybe like a bigger piece in the middle, and then even carving into the edges and making red flowers, green thorns, blue flowers, red thorns.
Blue flower, red thorns.
I also have my handy dandy wood carving kit. I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but the last time I used my wood carving kit, which that video is not done yet, my fingers hurt pretty badly. And I realized it's because they bend quite a bit. And when they're bent for that long, holding down the tool, it's not good afterwards. So I'm going to kind of splint my fingers so that they don't bend backwards as much. So you're gonna see probably a stick taped to my fingies. Just an explanation as to why my fingers will be taped in this video while I'm carving. First things first, I had to take off the price stickers so I wouldn't forget to do that later. And then I drew out a template since I have to make 2 of these. I wanted to make a template for this to make sure that they're both the same-ish. I drew the pattern with a pencil, cut it out, and went over it again, this time making really heavy lines with the graphite to then press it onto the shelf, transferring the image, which also made it reusable for the second shelf. Then it was time to carve. I did the big flower in the center first, scooping quite a bit out of the middle, and I did speed all of this up because the real-time footage moved at a snail's pace. Then it was time for some of the smaller details, like the leaves on either side of the flower, the vines, and then the outer edge, which was admittedly a little tricky to carve with how I had to hold it. To sand the carvings, I used a motorized nail file and smoothed out the rough edges. Then it was time to paint. I have 2 shades of red in my paint stash already, but I did try to mix 2 others in an attempt to make the entire thing red, though not one singular shade. I did finish painting, but there was a thunderstorm that night, and Pearl really does not like thunder, so we called it a night. The next day, since the shelves were done, I decided to try out another carving project. I took this pink eraser that, funnily enough, was called a pink pearl. Using a pencil, I drew a pattern onto it and then started carving out a rubber stamp. This is kind of like linocut, and I really want to try actual linocut one day, so using an eraser first seemed like a good way to test it out. I grabbed this little succulent that I had recently gotten at a friend's baby shower, painted the pot red, and then prepared to stamp on the pattern with our eraser. The first stamp went pretty well, so I finished stamping the pattern on all over the flower pot, and then another idea struck me. When I was carving out the shelves, sometimes the tools would create these little wood chips with rounded edges on one side, and they kind of reminded me of flower petals. I decided to see if I could make some tiny wooden flowers. I took an old wooden thread spool and just started carving out the sides, and then used the ink tube from an old pen as a temporary stem. I first tried using super glue, but nearly super glued the petal to my desk not once, but twice. So I decided to use hot glue instead, pressing each panel onto the center, using the points to kind of guide them into place like little puzzle pieces. And I figured since I had carved this little thread spool to shreds, I'd make a vase for the flowers to sit in. I smoothed out the edges with some sandpaper, and then used the file again to really help define the curvy shape and make it look more like a flower vase. Then I painted that red, as well as our tiny little flowers. For the actual stems, I unfolded a green paper clip I had at my desk and cut it into 3 different lengths. The red flowers were then put onto the stems with some hot glue, which was painted green. The red vase, as it was, looked a little too boring for me, so I continued our floral theme and painted tiny daisies all over the side of the vase. Okay, I just put the finishing touches on our tiny little flowers, and I think that means everything is done, so it's time for the reveal.
Whew! I was very, very tempted to re-roll the project. But you know what? A challenge is a challenge. And I think we made some pretty cool stuff. When I finished the shelves in a day, I just kind of felt like that wasn't enough for a video, even though these videos are shorter than my normal videos, but it just felt more like a short rather than a long form video. So I did kind of force 2 other projects in there, but I'm glad I did because I think this little afterthought is my favorite thing I made. It's just so pretty and cute and tiny. And you know, I've thought for a while that the chips, when they come off so cleanly, have got to be used for something. The shape just seemed like there was too much potential there to go to waste. So I'm glad we played around with it because they are adorable. They are very fragile, so they're probably going to live on one of our shelves and stay there. I think I'm gonna call it Ferdinand because it reminds me of this. So cute. So if there's one thing I learned from this, it's embrace the challenge. You never know what might come of it. I do like how the shelves turned out, but if I'm being honest, and I'm gonna be honest, I might paint the vines green. For the sake of the challenge, I tried to do 4 different shades of red, but the wood just kind of soaked it up. And you can't really see that much color variation. You could see maybe 2 tones. And because the wood stain is so dark and warm, the red just kind of fades into it and disappears. So I probably will be painting them green. Just the leaves and the vines. The eraser stamp mostly worked. I don't think it was fair to test this on a flower pot because it's kind of hard to stamp something on an uneven surface that is also almost as big as the stamp itself. So I think it'll be more useful for paper stamping or maybe fabric stamping. I'm a little surprised, but I like everything we made. And if you do too, you can let me know by hitting the like button. And if you want to see what's coming next in the series and join the channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I post, hit the notification bell. YouTube will let you know. Once again, I am doing a condensed version of this over on my Instagram at Out of Bounds, where I'm also hosting a fundraiser. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.